1 to score. Out of the third. Baltimore Orioles in third. Baltimore. No. Are the new champions of the American League East.
You heard it there on the broadcast, courtesy of Masson with Kevin Brown, Ben McDonald, and Jim Palmer. You may have been there live. The Baltimore Orioles are American League East champions. Don't pinch me yet, because this fairy tale isn't over. 100 wins for the 6th time in franchise history. First divisional title since 2014. And you know I had to be here live with you guys to break it all down. It's the official Baltimore Orioles post-game show. We got a lot to talk about. Thank you guys for being here. If you're here, if you can, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit that bell. I'm back live for these post-game shows. I'll be live with you for each and every Baltimore Orioles post-game during the playoffs. It's the Flex On Podcast, guys. Let's get to it. That is right, America. That is right, Flex Zone family. What is up? Happy Thursday night. Happy Friday Eve, especially to all the Orioles fans, Birdland, and all of the Flex Zone family out there. Whew, what a feeling. And just to peel back the curtain, if you know me, you know anything about me, you know some of my interests, you know some of my likes, my hobbies, especially when it comes to sports. I am a diehard day one Orioles fan. I've been through the lows of the 100+ loss seasons, getting beat with 30 runs scored on them, heartbreaking losses in the 9th inning, seasons that really had no hope or positive outlook. I've been through it all. And yet again, the Orioles magic has returned to the city, the stadium, and just to baseball as a whole. There are certain organizations that when they are clicking, when they are playing well, it just makes the sport better. And the Orioles being one of the most historic, successful franchises, it just feels good. And to root for this team, seeing how they've over the past 5 years rebuilt this organization, drafted, developed, scouted, bought in the free agents, the right pieces, the guys in management, ownership. It's a great day in Birdland. This team has won the toughest division in all of baseball and arguably one of the toughest divisions in all of the sport in the American League East. Not the Yankees with a billion-dollar payroll, not the Red Sox who aren't far behind, not the Rays who've had success and been to a World Series and win pretty consistently. Not even the Toronto Blue Jays, who are kind of the hot up-and-coming team over the past few years, who get all the hype and all the predictions of going deep into the playoffs. The Baltimore Orioles, a team that 2 years ago lost 100 games, is now winning 100 games. And they are the number 1 seed heading into the American League playoffs. The road to the World Series in the American League will go through Camden Yards. Just let that sink in for a second. Soak it in, Birdland. This is a magical season. Unfortunately, this week we lost Brooks Robinson. Rest in peace to him. One of the greatest Orioles of all time, but just as great as he was on the field. You hear the stories. People talk about the memories. He's one of the greatest people that have graced this city. Not born here, but uh, pretty much made Baltimore his home. People name their kids after him. The Gold Gloves, the clutch hits, the great seasons, the World Series championships, the longevity, the work in the community. And sometimes in sports, things just happen. If you look back at the Ravens when they won the Super Bowl, it was Ray Lewis's last ride, and they won the Super Bowl for Ray. We look at Brooks Robinson. They'll be wearing the Brooks patch the rest of the season. They'll be honoring him with the 5 on the warehouse. The memorial's coming up this Monday. It just feels like there's something special going on with this Orioles team. And it feels like it's something that could very much be happening in Birdland. That could be a season to remember as it is already. But they said it tonight. The job's not done. When you set out in the season that they had last year, winning 83 games, nobody saw them winning the AL East. Nobody saw them winning 100 games. The over-under was 76. People thought they would regress instead of progress. They not only go above 76, they not only above 83, they go above 100. They win the division by multiple games. They play well on the road, 50 wins on the road, play well at home. They win coming from behind. They never give up. They never die. They never quit. This team is never out. They play through all 27 outs and beyond. The camaraderie, the mix of young, youthful, high draft picks with veterans who have just the right touch and have that experience. The manager. This team is a scrappy bunch. As I mentioned, they can win in a variety of ways. Scoring runs with the long ball. Manufacturing runs, playing small ball. Great defense. The pitching has been even better than I could have imagined with some of the young arms that they have. Guys really coming into their own. The all-star representation. The national notoriety. This team has a little bit of everything. Second best record overall in baseball, only the Braves, who are historically doing as great as anybody. Could they be on a collision course with the Orioles? We'll see. They had a great series in April. Unfortunately, the Orioles lost 2 out of 3, but competitive in each game. So if they do run into the Braves, you gotta like our chances. I mean, anything can happen. The Braves may not even make it. But the Orioles have the second best record in all of baseball. Best record in the American League. 100 wins. And they are headed to the postseason. And the beauty of it is they don't have to play in a wild card round. They get that first round bye. They won't play again until October 7th. So after Sunday, they'll have about a week off. They can rest their tired bullpen arms who've been pitching 17 out of the last 19 days. They can set their pitching rotation. Guys who are a little banged up, a little nicked up can get healthy. They'll play the winner. Now, I don't like the fact they have to play the winner of Toronto and Tampa. I think the number 1 seed should play the lowest seed. I just think it's only fair. Shouldn't have to play another team that could potentially have the second best record in the American League. But I like the Orioles' chances in the divisional round. And we got a poll up. Make sure you guys vote on it. How far do the Orioles go? And when I look at this team, it is very good to just know that they have done it. I mean, you look at Mike Elias. What can we say? Coming from the Astros organization 5 years ago, a team that's won World Series, gone deep into the playoffs, getting a Sig Mejdal, bringing in the analytical guys, bringing in the scouts, bringing in the new age of baseball and of sports, of drafting, developing, tapping into the international market, being able to tinker the roster. And even Michael Elias gave credit to Dan Duquette and his staff getting certain guys in the Rule 5 draft. having certain high draft picks that have panned out and really that Mike Elias has been able to mold into potential all-star, superstar type guys. Before we get into this game and what I see happening and the overall how the night went, it was announced during the game, and I love this because we were up in arms about it. People were stressing out about it. People were concerned that, oh, the Orioles may be moving. The Angelos bought some land out in Tennessee. They could be putting a team in Nashville. They're relocating. The owners weren't going to approve a relocation for the Orioles. They're one of the most historic franchises in baseball. The lease agreement was up at the end of this year. They mentioned a deal would get done by the All-Star break. It didn't. People started to worry. People were getting a little pissed off. People were running hot. I knew this team wasn't going anywhere, and I knew they would always play at Camden Yards for the foreseeable future. It came up on the big screen. It came up during the broadcast. Kevin Brown mentioned it. Governor Westmore was there. John Angelos was there. They were in his owner's box. And it was announced that the Baltimore Orioles and the Stadium Authority, along with Governor Westmore, have announced a new lease agreement to keep the Orioles playing in Baltimore and in Camden Yards for at least the next 30 years and beyond. That right there is just as good as anything else we're going to hear tonight. The Orioles aren't going anywhere. The Orioles will be here. Got to drop a bomb for that. The deal is done. The lease is signed. They're going to do what they have to do around the stadium to make it more modern, upgrades, make it more beautiful to the outside eye. That is amazing to know that the Orioles are going to be here for the foreseeable future and we can stop worrying about that. Because in a season like this, you don't want little things like that to be a distraction, to put a negative blemish on this great season. We came at John Angelos, we come at the Angelos family, but they got the deal done. They have spent the money. Let's see them continue to spend the money in the next few years heading into the offseason after this great season to continue to add talent to an already solid roster. So that's one of the biggest things of the night. If you didn't know, the lease agreement has been signed. Tonight's game, Orioles win 2-0. Shut out the Red Sox. Win number 100. Starting pitcher tonight, and as I mentioned, if you know anything about baseball, you ain't going to win a World Series without good pitching. Good starting pitching, good relief in the bullpen. Dean Kramer wins his 13th game of the season, goes to 13-5. 5 in the third innings, 2 hits, no earned, 8 strikeouts, and only 1 walk. Kramer, if you don't know, he was a centerpiece in the Manny Machado trade. We talk about this team being rebuilt. Kramer was one of the centerpieces of that trade. It's been shaky for him. He has not been the best over the past few years. But Dean Kramer has gotten it done this season, and he got it done tonight after a few shaky starts where people were talking, oh, this guy may not even be in the playoff rotation. Dean Kramer's going to be in the playoff rotation, and he deserves it. 13 wins this season. Pitch is fantastic. Over the last 5 games, Kramer tonight, Gibson, Rodriguez over the weekend in Cleveland, Bradish yesterday, John Means over the weekend. This team starting rotation, as I mentioned, they get a week off. They get time to heal, rest, set the rotation up. The divisional round is a best of 5, first team to 3. Home field advantage for the Orioles. You have 4 to 5 legit starters you can use. And if you make it to the ALCS, the Championship Series and the World Series, 7-game series, first team to 4, you're going to need at least 4 to 5 starters. All of these guys are pitching their best right now. We'll get a look at Means tomorrow for the last time in the regular season. That should be awesome. I'm expecting him to throw another solid outing because it seems like he's getting better, getting stronger each outing. Anthony Santander, home run number 28, the most home runs for a switch hitter over the last 2 years in baseball. This guy was a Rule 5 pick. If you know anything about the baseball world or anything about things that happen in the world of baseball when it comes to the draft, the Rule 5 draft is basically like a supplemental draft. And when you pick here, the chances of guys really panning out is slim to none. When you look at it and you see kind of what these guys can be, I think the Orioles had 2 picks in that 2018 Rule 5 draft. A guy before Santander, a number 6 pick, didn't pan out. Santander being the number 18 pick in that draft and honestly going on to become a star in this league, a star for this team, one of the best switch hitters in baseball. As I mentioned, the most switch hit home runs over the last 2 years. Hit 33 last year, 28 this year, tied for the team lead with Gunnar Henderson. It's fantastic. You think about what Dan Duquette did, Dean Kramer with the Manny Machado trade, Anthony Santander. There are 2 guys right there. Heston Kjerstad with a double in the 8th to make the lead 2-0. Kjerstad battled my mitochondritis. Didn't know if he was ever going to play baseball again. Number 2 overall pick. Goes out there, wins the MVP in the Arizona Fall League this past season, which is a developmental league in the offseason for guys trying to make MLB rosters. He's done nothing but hit the ball well since he's been up here. 2 home runs, a double tonight, drives in the insurance run, which pretty much seals the deal. He looks like he's going to be a player for years to come. We know about Adley Rutschman. We know about Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson is going to win AL Rookie of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. 22 years of age. Probably a Gold Glove, if you ask me. Want to give it to him at short? You want to give it to him at third base? Gunnar Henderson is going to win AL Rookie of the Year, could win Team MVP, and should win a Gold Glove. Adley Rutschman, you could say the same about him. Gets on base, draws walks, patient in his zone, could put him at the top of the lineup, in the middle of the lineup. He literally does it all. Calls a great game behind the plate, has power, hit 20 home runs this season. Only going to get better. And look at Tyler Wells, another Rule 5 draft pick. Gets the save tonight. He was one of their best pitchers in the first half of the season, maybe their best. Comes back, gets sent down to the minor leagues with some mechanical issues, some fatigue. Gets his first save of the season, pitches on back-to-back nights. 1 inning of clean baseball, no hits, no runs, no errors, no walks. You gotta love it. Because with the Felix Bautista injury, and we don't know when he's going to come back, if he's going to come back this season. I don't know if he is. He's been throwing on the bullpen, but we'll have to see what happens. They're going to need to shore up the back end of that bullpen. That may be my biggest question heading into the postseason as we kind of look ahead. Tyler Wells, fantastic tonight. Ciano Perez. He has been the Ciano Perez we got used to seeing last year. He had a shaky start this season, but over the past month and a half, he's been as good as advertised. Another lefty in the bullpen that you need. DL Hall, another first-round pick from Dan Duquette, molding into a relief pitcher. He can be a starter possibly in the future, but he is fantastic tonight as well. I mean, he has great stuff. As I mentioned, Grayson Rodriguez. This team has some options. Yannier Cano tonight. He's fielding admirably. And if you remember the Jorge Lopez trade, he was a throw-in that trade. Had a very high ERA last year. Comes up in April this year. And as I say, the rest is history. He dominates. He plays well. He has pretty much been an all-star as he was. Strikes out the side yesterday. Comes in tonight, gets it done yet again. The Orioles have won 100 games, as I mentioned. 6th time in team history, first time since 1980. 2 years ago, they lost 110 games. The lease agreement has been made. And it was a magical night. Cal Ripken was there. Like I said, Governor Moore was there. It was HBCU night. You gotta love the synergy here. HBCU night at the Yard. And it's the night the Orioles clinch the AL East. Tampa Bay started off this season fantastic. People thought they were going to win this division going away. They won 13 consecutive games. And on May 8th, they led the division by 6.5 games. But I guess like they always say, it's not over till the fat lady sings. The Orioles haven't been swept, and this is something else to keep an eye on, in 91 consecutive series. Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson. Since these guys have come up, all they know is winning. Like I said, Cano came in fantastic in the 8th. Hall in the 7th. Perez, Tyler Wells. Ryan Mountcastle's back. He battled an injury. He was activated from the IL. He was in the starting lineup, drew a walk. He's the guy we're going to need in the postseason. Guys like Santander, guys like Mountcastle, guys that can change the game in one swing, can carry you offensively if need be. As I mentioned, we'll get a look at Means tomorrow. Love what I've seen from Means so far this season. He has picked it up, showing why he is capable, showing why he did throw a no-hitter. Gibson has 15 wins. Kramer has 13 wins. Bradish looks like he's going to start game 1. You got to soak it in. 100 wins. Second best record in all of baseball. The road to the playoffs and the American League will go through the American League East winners, the Baltimore Orioles. It's really not much more I need to say. It's really just one of those things. You win a division, you win 100 games on the same night, you do it in front of your fans. You don't have to play another road game in the regular season. You don't have to play on the road for a while in the playoffs because you won't play until October 7th. So they can rest a little bit. They can set up their lineup, get guys healthy, and do what they need to do to win this World Series because I don't think this team is satisfied with just winning the division. As I mentioned, when you start the season, your first goal is to make a playoffs in any sport. You make the playoffs. Next, win your division. They won the division. Next step, win that first round of the playoffs that you're playing. And like I mentioned, they're going to play either Tampa or Toronto. They've dominated Toronto this season. They won the season series by 1 game against Tampa. You got to like their chances against either team. The Toronto Blue Jays haven't done it. They choked last year against the Mariners. Had a big time lead. Choked that game away. They don't scare me. The Rays have been there before, but when it really comes down to it, if you put the rosters next to each other, the Orioles have the better roster. And if the pitching, as I mentioned, can hold up like it's been doing, especially with the starters and in the postseason, you can kind of manipulate a little more, maybe move some guys to the bullpen who are usually starters and have a quicker hook on guys. I think they can beat the Rays. Then that brings you to the American League Championship Series. Do you have to beat the reigning champion Houston Astros? Does Mike Elias have to overcome his former organization to get to the World Series? That would be as poetic as you can get. The Orioles took 2 out of 3 from Houston. Houston took 2 out of 3 from Baltimore up here. It would be a series I would love to see. They have a shot to get there, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, the Braves are the only team with a better record than they are. But I want to know how you guys feeling. This is a great night for the Orioles. This is a great time for the city. We got the Orioles in postseason thickness where they're going to be playing for a World Series championship. We got the Ravens who are balling out right now. I mean, I know they lost last week, but it's a winnable game against Cleveland on Sunday. Don't forget, we'll be live after that game for the post-game show, as we are each and every week for Ravens coverage. Ravens preview will be coming tomorrow as well. It's a great night, Birdland. This team has the most come-from-behind wins in baseball this season. They've beaten, and I meant to mention this earlier, and it slipped my mind, but it just came back to me, so I'm glad it came back to my remembrance. But this team has beaten every team in baseball this season. And I know, well, the schedule's different now. You play less divisional games. You play more of everybody else, more interleague games from day one. They've beaten every team in baseball. First team to do that. So you line them all up, they knocked them down. Like we say with Roman Reigns in the terms of wrestling, they smashed them, they stacked them, and pinned them. And we always joke about in our Flex Zone group chat about the pizza. If the Orioles score 5 runs, they get half off pizza. We love the pizza of Papa John's. We have been eating good all season, on the field and off the field with the Orioles. and I hope they keep it coming in the postseason. As I mentioned, they won't play until October 7th. That will be their first game. It will be home. They will have the home field advantage as they are the number one seed. 100 wins. Still 3 games left in the season, ladies and gentlemen. So the season's not over, but they've done the important things. They've clinched early. Tampa was off tonight, so it didn't matter what they did because they were off. So the pressure was on the Orioles. All eyes were on the Orioles, and they got it done tonight. Spectacular defense, spectacular pitching. Brandon Hyde seeming to always, for the most part, press the right buttons when needed. Like you mentioned, he didn't plan on having Tyler Wells be the closer tonight. He probably didn't plan on Dale Hall pitching multiple innings. He probably didn't plan on having to use Yannier Cano for the second straight night. He may not even have thought about putting in Perez after taking out Cano. But he presses the right buttons. He manipulates the lineup, bringing in guys like O'Haron. How great has he been this season? Talk about getting the right guys: Elias, Brandon Hyde, Ryan O'Haron, James McCann. I thought that was a pretty good signing. I didn't think he bought it much offensively, even though he's had some spurts of very good offense. What he does behind the plate, what he does as a veteran, fantastic. Adam Frazier. Last year he was with Seattle. He's been on some winning clubs. He knows what it takes to win. You add a guy like that to the locker room. How fantastic is he been defensively with some big hits as well? How about Kyle Gibson? Last year with the Phillies, made it to the World Series. He knows what it takes to win in this league. He's now with the Orioles, wins the American League East, wins 15 games this season. Yeah, he's had some games where he's been shaky, some stretches where he's been bad, but he still climbed out of them. Won 15 games. And as a guy, I think in the postseason, you got to hand the ball to in some of these situations. When you look at the postseason rotation, Bradish is number one. Do you throw in John Means maybe at 2 to split up, get a righty-lefty matchup? Do you maybe then throw in a Kyle Gibson or Grayson Rodriguez, third or fourth, or however you want to line them up? And what do you do with Kramer? Do you make him the fifth guy, even though he's won 13 games this season? And that's a good problem to have because the more arms you have, the better. As I mentioned, it's the postseason. You can manipulate guys, put guys in the bullpen that are usually in the rotation, have a quicker hook on guys. Now, with the bullpen situation, now with the rules, you have to face a minimum of 3 batters with the new rules, which MLB attendance is at an all-time high, I think, for the first time in 7 years. It's the highest it's been in 7 years, I believe. So the new rules, the pitch clock, the pace of play, more stolen bases, the faster pace, much like you see with the NBA spreading things out with the three-point shot and the NFL spreading things out with the offensive catering to the offense. You see that in baseball. The long ball, more runs. You can bet on sports now. You can bet on just about anything in the world of sports and life. Betting on baseball, next guy to hit a home run, getting a hit, how many strikeouts they're going to have. That's fantastic. That's good to hear. As I mentioned, during the 7th inning, we saw Cal Ripken thinking about his influence. As I mentioned, unfortunately losing Brooks Robinson. Could that be the extra Orioles magic that we need to really bring home this World Series championship? It will be the first time in 40 years. I haven't seen one in my lifetime. 1983 was the last time. It's been 40 years. They celebrated that team this year. Tomorrow they're going to be celebrating Jim Palmer, 60 years with the Orioles. And this man still comes, does broadcasts, helps out the younger talent, gives his insight where he could be on an island chilling. You have moments and milestones like this. And like I said, I think about the 2012 Ravens, Ray's last ride. Unfortunately, we lose a Baltimore legend, Brooks Robinson. We celebrate the 40th anniversary of the 1983 team, the last team to win a World Series in Baltimore. We got Jim Palmer, 60 years tomorrow. You win 100 games. For the 6th time in franchise history, you win the division for the first time since 2014. You're going to the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Is this the year, Birdland? You've seen me after all the big time wins with my shorts and my quick reactions, but I had to come on here and just talk to you guys about what this means for this organization, this city. Getting that lease deal done tonight, and everything in life is about timing. And the timing of announcing that lease agreement, that lease deal, with the governor in the house on HBC Unite, the Orioles College Fund Initiative, wanting to do things around the ballpark, upgrades, make it more modern. So I'm sure you'll see those over the next couple of years. This is just the beginning. This is the launching pad for the Orioles, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't a one and done team. This isn't a fluke. This isn't a floozy. This isn't an aberration. This isn't a blip. This is a trend with the young talent they have, as I mentioned. Adley, Gunner, Grayson, DL Hall, Kyle Bradish, Jordan Westberg, Kerstad, Yanir Cano. These guys are going to be around for a long time. And think about what they could do in the offseason if the Angelos family sticks to their word and they spend some money. Guys are going to want to come here. A couple years back, that dude left field wall, helping out the pitchers a little bit. So it's not just home run derby at Camden Yards in left field, where guys are just hitting the ball to left field and it's automatically gone, like you see in Yankee Stadium on that right field porch, or in Beantown at Fenway. It's very, very important that they did that. Now you can attract big name pitchers. They know this team is capable of winning. You have the young talent, and it's more help coming in the minor leagues. The help is on the way. This is still the number one farm system in all of baseball. They have the best prospect list. They have the best prospect in baseball. He won minor league baseball player of the year. Number one pick last year, Jackson Holliday, 19 years old. He's going to be with this team next year. With the Gunnar Henderson, with the Natalie Rutschman, with the Westberg. Colton Cowser's down there. He may figure it out. Joey Ortiz, Connor Norby, Samuel Basello. I mean, so many good young players still to come up in the system. I could be here all night talking about how great a job Mike Elias has done. And John Angelos and the Angelos family, getting out the way, letting him be the GM. It's been 5 years. Rebuilds are not easy. It hasn't been easy. They're tough. You have to eat a lot of humble pie. You have to take a lot of ass whoopings too sometimes. You gotta eat those L's. And we always joke here on the Flex Zone. I play the belt sound. I play the ass whooping sound because you gotta take some of those sometimes. You gotta go through the struggle to get to the success. And the Orioles are at the success point right now. The start of it, in my opinion. The start of a consistent winning organization that we've seen with the Orioles in the 70s, 80s, early to mid 90s. It's their time. They have longevity. They have the good young talent. They've drafted and developed. They've scouted. They've tapped into the international market. Embraced the new age of sports and baseball analytics, bat speed, launch angles, exit velo, pitching to contact, missing bats, watching people's innings, manipulating guys up and down. I call it the shuttle system. Guys from the major leagues to AAA, AA, single A. Guys coming up in quicker time. Like I said, Jackson Holliday just got drafted last year, number one overall, 19 years old. He's already in AAA. Look how Adley Rutschman's come up. Gunnar Henderson has come up. These guys have the fourth most wins in baseball since Adley has come up. They haven't been swept in 91 series. And they're not going to get swept this season. Impressive streaks, beating every team in baseball. Very good on the road, very good at home. Most come from behind victories. It is what a time to be an O's fan. I'm happy. I'm excited. This team has done it. They win tonight 2-0. Clinch the AL East, win 100 games. As I mentioned, the lease has been signed. The lease agreement has been announced to the masses. John Angelos, the stadium authority, Governor Westmore, they announced 30 plus more years and beyond of the Orioles being in Baltimore and staying at Camden Yards. That is fantastic. That is amazing to hear. Well deserved. This team doesn't need to go anywhere. Camden Yards is one of the best park in all of baseball. A lot of the new modern parks are built after what we see at Camden Yards. This team is special. Hopefully the magic, the spirit, the legacy of Brooks Robinson can help them get over the hump. Can bring that first World Series title in 40 years. They win 100 games, still 3 games remaining this season. How many will they win? Another 2 or 3 games, possibly? Get to 101, get to 102, 103, sweep the Red Sox? Why not? The Orioles are doing the damn thing. They got the management. They got the front office, they got the management, and they have the players. All 3, which are very, very important to succeed at this level. 48 and 30 at home, 52 and 29 on the road. 134 run differential, plus 134. 7 and 3 in their last 10. They won 5 in a row now. They have a shot. You look at the team that's going to be in it: the Orioles, the Rays, the Blue Jays, the Twins, Texas, and Houston. I like our chances against anybody, any American League. And when we get to the World Series, bring on the Braves, bring on the Dodgers. We want the best because the Orioles, they played with these guys. I know they lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, but they played them tough. I know they lost 2 out of 3 to the Braves, but they played them tough. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Astros here, but they played them tough. Beat them 2 out of 3 there. Rangers beat them 2 out of 3, but we played them tough. And at home, with the energy, the crowd, the rabid fan base that is going to be at Camden Yards yearning for postseason success after not having a home playoff game since what, 2016? No, I guess 2014, because 2016 they lost in a wild card. Buck didn't even bring in Zach Britton in Toronto, so they didn't even get a home game. They were in a wild card and lost a 1-game wild card game. So 2014, where they lost to the Royals, got swept in the championship series. And I think this team is better than the 2014 team. And that team made it to the championship series. Yeah, they got swept, but they made it. So this team at least needs to get to the World Series minimum, in my opinion. And I think they will. And we'll see what happens when they get there, and we'll talk more about it as I break it down. But this is your home for all Orioles coverage on the Flex Zone podcast, guys. I appreciate you guys being here. I know it's getting late. I know you guys are probably watching the Thursday night game. Looks like Detroit is going to move to 3-1. I was wrong in that when I picked the Packers. I thought they would win at home, and Packers just haven't gotten it done tonight. Jordan Love not playing his best, kind of coming back down to earth. And the Lions, man, much like the Orioles, that young team that's going to come up, they're going to move to 3-1. The Ravens play this weekend. As I mentioned, we'll be live for that after the game, the post-game show. Maryland Terrapins have a chance to move to 5-0 for the first time since 2001 with the win over Indiana on Saturday before they travel to the Ohio State. So 5-0 would be great for the Terps to start out before they get their ass whooped in Ohio State. But the O's, that's what it's all about tonight. We're going to enjoy it. Hope you popped your bubbly. Hope you popped your champagne. Hope you took your shots, drunk your beers, bathed in it, soaked in it. This team is playoff bound. They're the number 1 seed in the American League. They got 100 wins. The pitching looks like it's coming into its own. The bullpen looks like they're figuring out the right buttons to press. Hopefully we may see Felix Bautista. Who knows? The Orioles don't make it easy now. They raise your blood pressure. Baltimore teams do that. They're not going to blow people out often. 8-1, 6-0. And when you're in the playoffs, people, you got to remember, in baseball especially, it's about pitching and defense mainly and timely hitting. You're not going to see a lot of high-scoring games like that. You may get a few here and there sprinkled in, but you're going to get your 3-2, 2-1, 1-0, 4-3 ball games where it's tight, nail biting, high blood pressure, high pressure situations. And the Orioles are able to win close 1-run games, and that's one of the keys I have for the season. I believe they're like 30 something wins and only 11, 12 losses. So they've done fantastic in 1-run games. They won at home, won on the road, won and played well against their division. And I think the offense is going to heat up heading into the playoffs even more. The defense is great, stellar. You hit the ball on the ground to these guys, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get the out. The outfield. Ooh, guys like Austin Hayes. I can't forget them before I get out of here. Austin Hayes should win a Gold Glove. What he's been through with injuries, being an all-star. Hitting well, playing fantastic Gold Glove defense in left field, which is no easy feat in a new left field wall out in Camden Yards. Cedric Mullins, Cedric the Entertainer. battled some injuries this season. There was a time he was in Double A. Goes to be just a left-handed hitter, stop switch hitting. He plays Gold Glove caliber defense. Don't know if he'll win it because he hasn't played enough games, but he's a guy when you look at this season who can possibly help this team win. The game he had in Seattle with the catch and the home run. His speed. Guys like Jorge Mateo. I know he's not hitting well, but being able to bring a guy like that off the bench to bring that unique, unmatched speed to score runs. And we've seen where he's scored on ground balls from third base to home, getting 90 feet in 1 or 2 seconds, it seems like a cheetah. As I mentioned, having a guy like Mateo, having a guy like O'Hearn that has position versatility, can play in the first base, in the right field. Santander can play first, can play DH. Some of these guys who've been through the trash are now getting their treasure. As I mentioned, Hayes, Santander, Mullins. This is just the beginning, Berlin. Soak it all in. Enjoy it. Let me know how you feeling down below. I hope I hit all the thoughts, all the points. Hope I got everything off my chest because I had a lot to say, and I think I did. But what a night. Oh, amazing. You can't spell October without O, baby. I think it's about time for me to get ready to get out of here, put the kids to bed. It's 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. I'm feeling good. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be a great weekend for the Orioles. They defeated the Boston Red Sox 2-0. Clinched the American League East. Number 1 overall seed in the AL playoffs. The road to the World Series in the American League will go through Charm City, Camden Yards. Soak it all in. If you can't get your playoff tickets, try to get them. This is a monumental moment and only the beginning, and something you want to be a part of. Tomorrow they celebrate 60 years of Jim Palmer. In the pregame ceremony, John Means will make his last start of the regular season. Let's see what Means can do to build on and stack another great start as he works his way back to being full strength. Great start in Cleveland last week. Some of his best stuff since his no-hitter in Seattle. Means is going to be a guy that we're going to use well in the playoffs. Radish, Wells. Man, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. You guys know after each game I do a short recap my thoughts, give you the good, bad, and ugly, what's coming up next, the outlook, what happened during the game. But coming up, postseason, they'll play their first game October 7th. They'll be home. I'll be here live after the game. We don't know what time yet. We don't know the schedule, but I'll keep you guys posted. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We got another couple days of playoffs start Tuesday. Orioles are playing the wild card round. I am going to be live after each and every Orioles playoff game with the Baltimore Orioles post-game show here on the Flex Zone Podcast. Only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. If you can, vote on the poll, hit the like button, hit the bell, hit the subscribe button. If you want to donate to us, hit the Cash App, #, the Flex Zone 1. Email, want to be a guest for the show, sponsorship opportunities, theflexzone1@gmail.com, the Flex Zone 1 on Twitter, Instagram, and of course on TikTok, the Flex Zone Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, tuning in. Again, the Orioles win 2-0. Clinched the AL East, win 100 games. Brandon Hyde is going to be Manager of the Year. Gunnar Henderson is going to be Rookie of the Year. And the Flex Zone is your home for all Orioles coverage, 365 days a year. And Ravens coverage. Don't forget, we'll be live after the Ravens and Browns this Sunday and recapping week 4 of the NFL, going around the NFL. Also, tomorrow, look for a Ravens preview, Baltimore Ravens preview, as they head to Cleveland. Give you my thoughts, my predictions, what's going to happen, who plays, who's not going to play. Wait on the injury report tomorrow to see who practices and doesn't. But the Orioles, Ravens, sports, we're live every Monday for the flagship podcast, the Flex Zone. 409 episodes and beyond. 410 coming this Monday. God's favorite host. Love you guys. Thank you, Flex Zone family. Glad to get this off my chest. Excited. Happy recap. Orioles win 2-0. Win the AL East. Win 100 games. It's good to be back live with the post-game shows. It's tough. They play 162 games, so thought it was easier just to do shorts and recap games in 60 seconds or less. Give you the short abbreviated recap. But we'll be live after each postseason game. Win, lose, or, well, only win or lose. No draws, thankfully. Win or lose. And there's no ghost runner if they go to extra innings. It's just straight old school rules, which I like. So let's see what happens. Orioles will be there. They start October 7th. 3 games left in the regular season against the Red Sox. I'm getting out of here. I feel my voice going. I'm going to try to get some rest. Thank you, Flex Zone family. Love you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell on your way out. I'm signing off. Orioles are AL East champions. Number 1 seed in the AL playoffs. Win 100 games. And a new lease agreement has been officially signed as the Orioles and the Stadium Authority and Governor Westmore announced it. They'll be here for the foreseeable future, 30 years and beyond. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks again for watching. Sign off in the comments, hit the like button if you haven't. Vote on the poll and hit the subscribe button. Flex Zone Podcast, only place giving you sports how you want it when you need it. We'll be live for the Orioles postseason after each game. And of course, back each and every day with new content. Hit the bell, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys. And I can't wait to do this again. Go O's, Orioles Magic, soak it all in Birdland. Enjoy it.